Hello, YouTube friend. One thing for certain in the fish keeping hobby, maybe in particular with cichlids, but I'm sure people that have salt tanks, discus, and other tanks that require special care would probably agree. If you're not willing to work through the setbacks, the hobby is not for you, because there will be some setbacks for everybody, and some learning curves and things of this nature. But we're always willing to experiment and try new things. So let me tell you about the results of a recent experiment that I did, and you tell me what you think. All right, so here's the tank. And what you're going to notice is that two things have been added to the tank, and it is these rocks on each end. These are from Universal Rocks. They're like little monoliths. And what I'm doing with those is I'm using them to hide the equipment. As you know, I pulled the background forward and put the equipment behind the 3D background. But that created some problems. The most obvious of which was taking away swim space from the fish, as much as 3 to 4 inches in some parts of the tank. And also, I ended up with a couple fish trapped back there. One, a Bucochroma spectabilis, which I talked about in a prior video. And I figured it was just a freak accident that he had gotten back there while I was messing around and with the background. But then one of the dolphins got back there. So I figured, okay, I do not want to be messing around and pulling and saving fish from between the background, 3D background, and the back glass. So what did I do? I contacted Universal Rocks, and they had these pieces available. And as you can see, I have one intake there, and next to it, behind that piece, is a heater, and over on the other end, taking our time to focus on this beautiful fish, on the other side I have, you can see the intake there, peeking from behind that, and the heater is tucked behind that as well. So the lesson I learned here is, if you want to hide your equipment, really hide your equipment, get a sump. That's probably the best way to hide your equipment. And those of you who watched my videos of when I was putting things behind the 3D background were probably thinking that. Some of you mentioned it. Some of you encouraged what I was doing. And I really thank all of you, both those of you who encouraged and those who warned me. And it was all greatly appreciated. So I'm back to a standard 3D background. So my fish have more swim space, and also the detritus, I think, is going to have a better chance of getting sucked into the intakes. I intentionally swapped out the FX6 for another 704B. So this tank now is running on two 704Bs. And I did that because the 704B intakes are more narrow, and I knew they would work better with these Universal Rock pieces that were sent to me. Where's the where's the Fluval? The Fluval FX6. That is on the tank that is going to be revealed very shortly. A acrylic tank that I'm working on, and that's where the Fluval went. The new 704B on this tank had a couple of the dirty sponges from the Fluval put into it to help with the bacteria, the beneficial bacteria. So, lesson learned. If you want to hide your equipment, get a sump. And just as a little heads up, after advice from Half Man, Half Cichlid, I just might be doing a little sump project with the new tank. We'll see. As you can see, the fish are looking great. They've weathered all my tinkering. No worse for wear. And some of these are going to be going into the acrylic tank and making a little more room for the haps that are going to be taking on more size, like that linny. And the polystig, Venusis, even though this is not a gigantic hap, I'm not going to be taking this Taiwan reef out of this tank. He's just too much of a monster for my project. My project is actually going to be a place where some of the mid-range fish that are too big for the juvie tank and but too small to go into this tank. It's sort of like a midway point, and that's going to be the purpose of that tank that I'm setting up. But some of these that are in here are just a little bit too big to go there, so I'll leave them here. That might include the bicolor 500. It's a very good sized bicolor, probably pushing 6 to 7 inches. Taiwan reef for sure is I would say about 7. Probably maxed out as far as the Taiwan reef goes. But I'll be probably taking over the fish like the Eureka Red. He'll probably go to a new home, and as will the Otter Point. I'm probably also going to take the Super Red Empresses, who have completely colored down in this tank and have never colored up again. So I'll probably end up moving them into the new project tank where they'll feel a little bit more secure, not quite as intimidated. I'll probably take them over there, and that way they can start to show some color again. And even though they're small, I'm going to leave the dolphins here because they're just full of attitude. So what they lack in size, they make up in attitude. So they'll stay in the 135. So there you have it. Lesson learned. But I like these pieces that were sent by Universal Rocks. I think they're doing the job. Well, there you have it. Live and learn. And I like the look of the tank. I like the way those Universal Rock pieces are hiding the equipment for the most part. And so the story has a happy ending. I only lost one fish in the process, that Spectabilis. And maybe I can buy one of the ones back that I sold to this one fellow out here locally. I sold 2 of the 3. I think one of the ones I sold him was a male. Wish I'd kept him now. So at any rate, there you have it. And comment below. Let me know what you think. And thank you so much for tuning in.